After 3 games, KatZ now leads in the semifinal 2-1. His craziness in game number 1 did not pay off, backfired hard, but in game number 3, boy did that pay off in style. It does mean now that Morrow is going to have to make sure that he scouts his own base, that he makes sure he has all angles covered from any sort of Nidus networking action or drop that could come. A lot of pressure on Morrow right now, because down in the bottom left, the captain of Team Root Gaming, KatZ, currently leads 2-1. Down in the bottom right from Western Wolves, currently down 1-2, but still in it, is Western Wolves' Morrow. Now I'll note that on Newkirk City, it's very easy to just split the map, largely due to the fact that there's one attack path by this watchtower, and the second one is by the other watchtower. Very straightforward defense. In fact, the only real threat is perhaps this top corner where an Overlord can get some Nidus networks in that can be a little bit nasty, but Terran can by and large shut down Zerg aggression no problem. KatZ again with this really early scout, and I think that I have a feeling, I'm not sure why, Spider Sense tells me that if Morrow sees this drone, he's going to try to track it down. Now, there's this idea of having a nice range of strategies available based upon what you see. You know, like a Terran player who walls in his range of possible strategies includes an early expand, includes a fast gas, could even be some sort of cheese. It's a wide range of strategies. For KatZ, this, just a drone scout, could be a hatch in base, or it could be a hatch back home. Kind of a funny way to introduce more ranges into or more possibilities into that strategy range. Looks like Morrow is in fact going to be throwing down that command center. Not going to deviate. No funny business going on. Very much so like Flash, who lost a couple games to 10 pool Zerglings, and rather than abandoning his command center first strategy, just placed his command center first in a little bit of a different location. I always have a big respect for players who are comfortable just doing the same thing game in and game out. Not really any big problem with being faced with the same situation again. I mean, here we even see Morrow promptly planting down these 2 refineries. Supply depot going down. At the front, command center wrapping up. I mean, everything's looking very consistent over on Camp Morrow's side, and I'm really hoping we get to see the play out of this in a broad sense, because we've pretty much not really gotten to see standard play out of KatZ yet. Game number 2 was certainly solid by KatZ, but not standard by any means. I mean, he went for the Roach Rush right off the bat. Oh no, the Overlord's going to go down. Oh, every Terran player in the entire universe, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm not going to lie, that is the worst feeling is Zerg, and the best feeling is Terran. Oh, it's a free Overlord. Thank you. So with this factory going down, Morrow will be able to control space on the map with the Hellion Mine combo. More importantly, Morrow is not being passive with these early Marines, making sure to step out into the middle of the map. Now, in terms of a long-term plan, we're seeing KatZ for once go standard. Oh my gosh. But weirdly, this map has a tough choice. This is the more reasonable third base from a long-term standpoint. We can get ourselves a calm 4th. We're far away from Terran. We're up against the left side of the map. It's quite hard to drop. So with that in mind, it's very easy to go Ling Muta. However, this is the one base that's a lot closer by ground. So the creep tumors can easily goop this area up, and it might be a little more tempting to do that. But if you take that, then you're kind of forced away from Ling Muta. This is quite a vulnerable location from direct frontal pushes. Per usual, the same play out of Morrow again and again. I mean, in a sense, the first 6 minutes of the game should not really be the necessary grounds to do wild deviations. That's just more of KatZ's modus operandi. So KatZ continuing to spread out, and yep, looks like he's heading straight north. Given that it's going to take a while for the creep to go there, I like this decision to have the layer a little bit early. Devote that money to teching fast as opposed to devoting it to expanding fast. Banshee, Mine, Hellion, everything is as expected. First Hellion going to move out and will almost certainly rush right towards the third. Any strategy really revolves around knowing what your opponent's third base timing is. But gosh, KatZ is still favoring this build that he did in game number 2. It worked out so well for him, going for Roach speed, for Roach Range attack, there it is, going down. Burrow, is Burrow going to be popping up soon? You betcha. At the same time, though, I'm not as much a fan of that. This is a lot harder for roaches to penetrate. A lot easier for him to pierce through the front on Daybreak. Mine heads right to the third, and will burrow. Bam! Morrow obviously checking any third anywhere, because if no third goes down by around 9 minutes, I mean, Morrow is going to be nearly 100% certain that he's up against some sort of big ground-based play. Even Mutalisks would have started an expansion right around now as they're stockpiling all their cash to get those mutas up. Some nice micro play. Ooh, very nice moves there by Morrow. Picks off 2 creep tumors. So if you're in Morrow's shoes right now, you're going, yep, I know what's coming. Look at the Banshee already rallied back to the front. Hellions pulling back. Soon enough, they'll be taking this watchtower. Can't be too careful if your opponent has not taken a third base yet. I mean, we see mine, Banshee, it's ready. Saying, I'm here, I'm ready to do this. Hydralisk Den is a big timing that can break down the third of a Terran who's too eager to take it. But look at this. Morrow is not doing the traditional MVP style where he ends up delaying these factories. Instead, we're seeing the factories pop down very early. It's the armories that are actually going to be delayed in this spot. Scan from Morrow reveals the Roach push coming up. Roaches are actually moving along the top side. Speed still quite a ways from finishing. Nasty Widowmine picks it off. This is kind of a bold play from Morrow to opt to take this expansion right now. Does he even have a Thor out? No, he actually canceled the Thor. Nice read. Roach is moving along to the top side. Hydralisk range coming up. It looks like WWMorroW has a plan to transition into Roach Hydra. Very strong against Hellion Banshee. Ordinarily weak because there's no late game follow-up, but now, thanks to that Viper, there's a very potent late game follow-up. And oh, WWMorroW is just going to go straight for the main base. But the siege tanks are up just in time. A little bit later than in game number 2, and a lot different of a result. WWMorroW is likely just going to have to burrow. Retreat in full. There's this infestation pit coming up. It looks like it will once again be a very swift tech all the way up to the Viper. But in the meantime, the Hellbats coming up. Everything's looking very nicely defended from Morrow. And this is a 4th base that's so easy to take. It looks like Morrow's not even going to mess around. He's going to go straight for it. No factories at all. Other than those initial starting 3. So, yeah, it does look like kind of a similar look to what we saw in game number 2. Spires coming up now. The Hive en route. This base, not as comfortable a base for Zerg as the top left. Zerg's also moved right on through his potential. I actually wouldn't call this a potential 4th base. Maybe for Terran or Protoss, but for Zerg, really the top left corridors are where they'll be heading to. Getting some pre-base construction out of the way. Now, in terms of a long-term plan, how do you play this out as Morrow? What's your big goal? The big goal, next one, is to take this expansion and this expansion. This is a really key one because by positioning your units to be able to defend this, you lock down this corridor, and you can begin to shut down this top side, which will lock you down 2 more key expansions. So, as Morrow is defending the tank count, getting that started as early as possible, even in the face of potential transitions to air units, all that's going to be critical for the late game. Even if there are air units coming, relying more on Thors from these later factories, we'll be safe enough. Ooh, some cute missile turret placement, but safe enough. Now, I'm curious if Morrow's actually just going to sprint up right away and go take it. I actually think, wow, no Vipers from WWMorroW. You know, WWMorroW is similarly doing an excellent read on his opponent. He's saying, all right, well, if you go mech, and I know your style well enough, you're likely going to be taking this 3rd and very quickly taking this 4th base. So you're going to be turtling really hard. I'm going to be going for Greater Spire with almost no units. 10 roaches, and that's it. Nothing but drones. Wow, he's up to 64 drones. He's continuing to flood more drones. Now we have the Corruptors coming up. Nothing but a fast tech to Broodlords right now. Completely naked, undefended, but Morrow doesn't know. Morrow has almost no map control because those roaches are just so fast. Hydroden hasn't even gotten speed yet. Per usual, Morrow's doing the smart defensive choice, but I don't actually know if Morrow's going to have enough Just enough brunt muscle to deal with a bunch of Broodlords. How many Vikings are out right now? 5, 8 Hellbats. In this particular situation, could Terran perform a push right now? Would a push be good? Well, I mean, he doesn't have 1-1 yet. Should absolutely begin that, or finish that up before he begins attacking 2-2. One of the critical timing attacks. Really tends to bash those Zergs down. Morrow's playing hyper defensive, now beginning to create a small wall up at the top side that will eventually become future bases. No drop plans in store. It looks like it's just going to be Infestor Broodlord. More drones coming out. A lot of queens. In fact, those queens are just packed up at the front. 10 queens. Whoa! But keep in mind, those queens do have the transfuses to keep those Broodlords alive. They also have the range upgrade. Or excuse me, the long range against air. Can take down those Vikings very, very quickly. Smart move to go to Broodlords. Interesting way that we're seeing WWMorroW use his current set of production to go Queen, Corruptor, Broodlord. And once again, we see WWMorroW just storming in, trying to deny expansions with this, measly little roach force. More command centers going down right now. I always love when Morrow does this. This can easily be one base and then land to become a planetary. 2 can land here to become a pair of planetaries. Planetary fortresses are one of the essential defensive pieces to mech because they cost 550 minerals, 150 gas. Very inexpensive on the gas relative to the mineral count. This is going to allow all the gas to be freed up to do transitions into... Oh yes, transitions into Ravens. Man, what is the unit loss tab? 7 units lost for Morrow thus far. He's literally done nothing but make stuff. He's playing SimCity, which still isn't out for a little while longer as of the recording of this video. I think WWMorroW may very well just try to mass up the Money Broodlord Infestor Corruptor force. Now, as many of you saw in WWMorroW versus, or excuse me, in Idra versus Morrow, Morrow was able to decimate that with some nice point defense drones, some nice seeker missiles, but this attack is coming a lot earlier with a lot more queens. There's going to be those transfuses that can go down. 8 Broodlords. Are all 10 queens at the front? 9 of them are. And look at the energy on them. Yeesh. Really only one place to attack is Zerg, and that is whatever is closest. It's too slow of a force. Everything being researched. High-sec auto-tracking. 2-2. Wow, a 3rd armory to make sure that air gets upgraded. And here the attack begins. All the command centers are done at that backside. Finally, an engagement goes down, and there is the Ultralisk Cavern coming down, +3 on the melee attack. Some attempted move forwards by these queens. They've got to be very careful. We need to spend a little bit of transfusing energy on each other. 14 queens on the map right now for WWMorroW. There's the 2 seeker missiles. He will be able to heal those up right after detonation. Queens need to pull back though. WWMorroW, these queens are essential to keeping this force alive. Tanks just everywhere. WWMorroW is continuing to drive in. I mean, this could be it. Morrow needs to have this defended, or otherwise he is just going to lose in 3-1 fashion. Infestors throw out a couple of fungals, but the unsieged tanks just rip through all the queens and infestors on the ground. WWMorroW is forced to do a full retreat, but WWMorroW, in the meantime, 9 Ultralisks en route. 16 Zerglings. They don't have an armor upgrade yet. In fact, +1 armor hasn't even begun researching, but that's not really that important given the huge damage output of these mech units. Sure, it'll help, but the big scary thing right now is Adrenal, the attack upgrades. In that unit tab, we see 86 drones, very high drone count. 75 SCVs for Morrow. He needs to begin sacrificing those and relying more on his mules to stay in the game. Crazy number of scans coming up. And here come the Zerglings. Immediately wrap right around. Going to be able to pick off a couple of these units. Will there be any fungal growths down? You betcha. Immediately tossing those out, and it looks like the tank army is going to fall so fast. Ultralisk not just good against metal anymore, great against bio, doing that full 44 damage when they have the +3 attack upgrade. 3 more Ultras trundle on forward. Welcome to the new Zerg Hive tech. Just slamming those front lines. The Vikings really need to lift up. A couple of mules land to try to get in the way. But 3 Ultras make short work of that front line of Vikings until they die. So I'm liking this transition from KatZ, pulling back into the Ultralisk. Zergling will likely be able to perform a big bust at the front. Morrow's making a nice adjustment, beginning to make some Hellions. We'll turn those into Hellbats at the front lines. We see Vikings trying to pretend to be Hellbats. Oh, your Halloween costume isn't fooling anybody, guys. But it looks like the Zergling Ultralisk moving up along the top side. Is the mech army going to have enough different angles of defense to stay alive? Oh, wow! KatZ identified a huge weakness in the armor. Instantly going to be blasting down the front. Morrow, unperturbed, throws down a whole bunch of more orbital commands up at that top side. Turn them all up into Hellbats. Might even be able to take out the orbital command if Morrow's not careful. What? Oh my god, Morrow loses the command center. Now Ultralisk sweeping up along to the top side. They deal so much damage, and it looks like Morrow... Is he going to lose 2 bases? He does! Ultralisk trying to swing in the front. Seeker missiles get thrown down galore. All the Ultralisk get ripped down, but... it's actually not clear who's coming out ahead or behind in these exchanges. I mean, the Zerglings are swinging in a point defense drone, just doing spotting, some scouting up at the top side. Really needs to be 2 planetaries and a tank up at that north base. Can't just rely on those orbital commands with a single planetary. Yet again, more Seeker missiles try to connect with those Ultras. Deal more damage to Terran than to Zerg. Zerglings now swing into the front side. They find a vulnerable hatchery. Vulnerable command center. 3-3. Almost done. +3 air weapons. Even another potential consideration. So right now, it's the real struggle for Morrow. How does he secure himself these top side bases? There's a lot of counter swings happening along the north side. Still seeing a strong defensive formation with the 10 Ravens, 11 Vikings, 10 Hellbats. It's like a 10-10-10-10 build. 10 of each thing, and you can hold off everything. Real concern in my eyes for Zerg is that he has 93 of his supply in workers. And you think about the fact that queens are also part of that supply, chilling at home. We have 2 queens here, queen there. I mean, there's really not that much overall ground army for the Zerg. Burrowed Ultralisk trying to do his Roach impersonation and heal quickly, but siege tanks get overrun by Zerglings, taken out. Planetary Fortress Wall gets denied. A series of mass scans to get a sense of everything that's going on. Morrow will see it, but still has a huge hole up at the top side that he's not defending. Ultralisk unburrows and says, "Oh yeah, sacrifice me too." You got it, Ultralisk. Your wish is Morrow's command. Ravens still being produced 2 at a time. You know, having Ravens is great, but getting Ravens is the real problem. And Morrow's finally lived long enough to get himself 12 Ravens total. How does Zerg break himself out of this? I mean, late game mech is so brutal, I almost think that teching up to the fast Broodlords is not ever going to be the key. I mean, going for fast Broodlords is... it makes sense against a Marine Maraudering player. You can have these Broodlings dealing huge amounts of damage. It's difficult to micro. The Marine Marauder, they have to get close, but... I mean, here, the Vikings and Ravens are just going to rip apart everything. I almost think KatZ might be in an unwinnable position right now. Roach Hydra Blinding Cloud gave Morrow huge trouble, and that was long before Morrow got these transitions up to all these high-tech units. Now he's at 3-3-3. Oh no, and he's picking off all of his own SCVs. He's going to free up so much more supply. I mean, the army supply for Morrow is already ahead, and now he's going to have almost 50% more stuff. Hydra speed coming up, and there's the Nidus network. The one possibility to begin to peel this mech army apart. I mean, really, KatZ is still at a huge loss in terms of the overall amount of units lost in these exchanges, but I mean, enough. Nidus warming up front, Nidus warming in the back, all the different difficult angles to deal with. Well, it looks like Zerg's getting every single upgrade that he never got. It's Christmas in KatZ Town. It's like Oprah Winfrey with upgrades. You get the upgrade, and you get a special neuroparasite, and you're gonna get extra sneakers. Enjoy the armor, spit harder. Ooh, KatZ. What do I think about that? Now that is a That is a crazy move. Going for all the spore crawlers makes sense, but I mean, I'm still not sure that that's going to be able to abate the issue that is the Seeker missiles. Planetary Fortress, queuing up some commands. Morrow might want to make a move right away. It's going to be another insane engagement. God bless these players. These games are awesome. And with that Nidus network down, that's the real concern for Morrow in my book still. God, the Thors do huge damage with those one-shottings, and now just throwing down a bunch of auto turrets to pick off the front lines. Vipers beginning to just consume the inevitable death of those buildings. And there's the Seeker missiles planting. These 3 Broodlords are about to take a huge pounding. All these units. Oh my god, the Queen Broodlord force just gets cut in half. All the Broodlords taking massive hits. Seeker missiles just too well positioned. Infestors try to step up, but WWMorroW just gets murdered. Oh my god, Morrow lost almost nothing in that. Broodlords are not the answer. Broodlords are not the answer. Mech clearly very well equipped to deal with this. Now the extra long range units going to begin taking out one another. But it's 12 Ultralisks up against this Death Force from Morrow. Stepping in, a couple more fungals. Seeker missile on the infested. Some nice damage being dealt. Where are those 12 Ultralisks? Can these infestors buy enough time? Infested Terrans need to pop out. Fungal Growth still connecting. There's another connection the Viper does not want. No, it's out of range, and now it looks like the 12 Ultralisks. Holy crap, 12 Ultralisks stepping forward, and immediately the Seeker missiles target it. Still not enough to take out a single one. The forward spore crawlers. Is WWMorroW getting too aggressive? There's no queens here to support. There's no transfuses that can possibly land more Seeker missiles to go down. What? The Planetary Fortress doesn't even fall. The unit's loss tab is just getting like doubled every time there's an engagement for WWMorroW. Oh gosh. Attempted abducts on all these air units to fly them straight into these spore crawlers, but I'm not even sure Morrow cares. Too many auto turrets. What is his Raven count at? It's at 18. What a hero Planetary Fortress. 11 more Ultralisks popping out right now. WWMorroW knows it's all going to be about the counterattacks. It's the only way he'll really be able to get any edge in this game. I mean, engaging head-on is going to always pan out terribly, but wow, 1, 2, 3, 4 starports to produce Ravens, 6 factories, 7, 8, 9, 10. Morrow's production is just insane, and there's the Nidus Worm. WWMorroW looks like he'll soon be relying on a series of hit-and-run plays. Top expansion, utmost priority to take that out. Blue Flames getting started at the 33-minute mark. Nothing like 33-minute Ultralisks. Or excuse me, 33-minute Blue Flame Hellions. Now with this force, there's still potential for WWMorroW to break through. He needs to have some very nice blinding clouds. Queens transfusing the Ultralisks would help tremendously. Placement of Morrow is so strong. Oh no. Oh, everything's gonna get targeted. Oh, that's so much red. The Ultralisks immediately begin to settle down to the colors of orange and red in the health bar, but the blinding clouds seem to have been the key to break through that first line. All the Vikings land. Those are going to fall very fast. Mule's trying to land. Morrow's trying to block off as much as he can. But still, it's just such sickening damage. What is the armor? Armor's still only at +1. That's actually going to hurt quite a bit against those auto turrets. Burrowed Infestor trying to sneak in a little bit of damage. Zerglings. Going to be very nice in these engagements. I mean, tanks fall quite quickly to Zerglings if they can get surrounded. Single Infestor doing some nice work. The Zerglings have almost been the most effective choice for WWMorroW this whole game. At this point, if you're in KATZ's shoes, you're starting to get a little anxious. The money's running dry. Top expansion's really the only one left. Top left, not so good. The fourth, third, wow, the third amazingly has probably the most minerals of them all. So actually KATZ is okay. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 real mining bases. Has mined out 3 locations. All these drones need to get transferred to somewhere useful fast. KATZ is just desperate for more minerals. And I'm scared to open up this tab, but I'll do it. That is why Morrow is winning this game. He has 29 SCVs. All the rest is mules. Has so much in the bank. More infestors being produced. A lot more infestors to absorb tank fire. Morrow's going to stay with a good sense of exactly everything that's going on right now. Will pull himself back. This is what he needs. Ooh! Wow, that was a very nice fungal. If he can maybe neural parasite it? No, it looks like he's going to just spend energy to pick off something, anything he can. Takes it out. This is an opportune time to make a counterattack and try to rely on just the infestors to be able to defend. There's a lot of infestors, over 24 infestors, 26. It's a siege tank, auto turret push, and the counterattack commences. KATZ sees an opening window. He's going to start throwing down a couple of fungals, but with that low number of infested Terrans, everything just gets eaten alive. Where are you going, Ultras? Where are you going? They need to start pulling back, and it looks like there will be the mass unsiege. Morrow's going to pull back. Morrow's playing this map out perfectly. There's exactly one large attack path, so we just clog it up with a bunch of tanks and force these poor engagements for Zerg. Infested Terrans continue to be strong. If fungal growth can land, he'll be in decent shape. Continuing to throw out more infested Terrans. I mean, this is almost all the energy for Zerg, but at least he's spending energy as opposed to spending a lot of resources as he's been doing with these big Ultros exchanges in the past. There's some nice neural parasites. The Terran units are dealing the most damage to the remaining Terran units, but where are the units? KATZ is about to get swarmed with a whole pack of Seeker missiles. Rest of Morrow's forces stepping in, 5 tanks being produced at a time. Ultras need to pop out. It looks like Morrow's about to deal the killing blow. Poor Ultralists. The target of Seeker missiles? Are you serious? That's like civilians being sent. FBI agents like 007. Shut up, Sean. That joke doesn't make any sense. The Overlords didn't deserve it. That's all that it needs to be said. So KATZ has managed to defend this attack, but it's unclear if he came out ahead or behind. More Ultras popping out. 36 Zerglings en route. Drones idle all over the place, and it looks like there's actually not any queens anymore anywhere. For Zerg, he only has one up in the main base, needs some additional injects so he can flood with those Zerglings. Right now there's just too much control in the Terran front. I mean, already Morrow is massing up a nice army of Tank, Heli, and Thor. He's been doing this for a long time. I mean, all throughout the beta, these super slow, super passive armies, very careful, retreats at just the right times. Counterattacks and being pulled every which way has always been Morrow's weakness and Mech's broad weakness in general. Some Zerglings being split off, the remaining Zerglings get introduced to the color blue. Morrow still has a lot of resources left to be mined. Especially this bottom right third. Wow. Morrow now, just waiting a little bit, trying to get enough energy. Scan just barely misses the Nidus network. All the drones begin to transfer. More of these spine crawlers step into the front. One spine crawler still valiantly defending the empty main base. I'm getting real concerned for KATZ. I've been saying that for a long time, but there's only so many attempts that you can hurl at a Terran player when he's this this much on lockdown. After charging energy for the whole game, it looks like this might be the strike point. Nidus Network? Indeed. KatZ throwing down the Nidus Network. Immediately everything's pulled. Can KatZ maybe get a fungo off? It's immediately taking some damage. Gets taken down in a heartbeat. Auto turrets with that durable materials upgrade lasts for frickin' ever. All the units trying to swing up to the top side. And the engagement is really going to go very poorly for KatZ. KatZ, he needs to just throw down a Nidus Network. Where's the Nidus? Everything's pulling back. He needs at the very least some way to retreat, or he's just going to throw away another few thousand sets of resources. He does manage to get the Planetary Fortress, but that's not cutting resources off from the Terran. Terran's just going to re-expand there. It's delaying the Terran, but there's really no need to delay anymore. Both players have the whole map. It has to be about actually making killing moves. KatZ might try to perform some sort of sneak, but I mean, Morrow, you're seeing the planning. Missile turret, sensor tower to monitor the top hallway, sensor tower to monitor the drops, sensor tower to monitor engagements at the third, another sensor tower to monitor counterattacks. The only thing that really isn't censored is all the rest of the Zerg side of the map. And there's the Mobius reactor Ghosts. Now a consideration for Morrow. He doesn't actually have any Ghost upgrades, but a handful of Ghosts to EMP can't possibly be bad. At this point I will take a water break. A clever attempted play out of Morrow. Seeker missiling the Infestors and trying to trap them with mules so that way they cannot retreat. Pulling right back to the north side, 2 Ghosts being produced from Morrow. This game may never end. This game might go on forever. Morrow's looking poised to take the win, but he's waiting very patiently to round out his composition optimally. In fact, he doesn't even really need Vikings so much anymore. He has 22 Ravens, 13 tanks. Poor KatZ, everything's revealed at all points in time. It's the legal map hack upgrade. The mass orbital commands. In fact, how many orbital commands does he have? Looks like it's 11 orbital commands. So that is a good chunk of energy. Oh, this poor Ultros. Can he get out in time? Yeah! Bunch of beach balls just go about rolling on the cliff. A nice bait. Cloak now coming up, and you know, I actually think KatZ is going to be completely underprepared for this. KatZ right now looks as though he's just building the wall and waiting for the push to come. This is it. This is the final stand. If KatZ can maybe pull some sort of miraculous counter swing like that series of fungals, he might be in good shape, but there's a lot of Terran units there, and why was I ever optimistic? That was the most one-sided engagement. What? What? Morrow? He's just showing off at this point. A few ghosts stepping forward. Point defense drones against spore crawlers in the unit's lost tab is terrifying. Almost 100,000 resources lost for Zerg. Nearly doubling that of Terran. Might very well double it if KatZ keeps sending in units and doesn't leave the game. I mean, Queens did their best. Solidness is what's giving Morrow this win, and incredible patience. This is perhaps one of the best maps in the map pool to perform mech on, so he's doing a good job in that regard. But, oh my gosh. Good game! Morrow ties the series up 2-2. That means right now, both players are at match point. Is going to go on to a final game number 5, and given that KatZ gets the choice of maps, as he was the loser in that match, he better choose something that is nice and spread out and wide open. Otherwise, he might fall victim to the same mech strategy back-to-back. Guys, stay tuned, because in the next match, we're going to find out one of the new finalists of the King of the Beta tournament.